What's up, Chromies? We're back. The podcast has returned. I have sat down to attempt to record this episode a lot of times, and for various reasons, responsibilities, distractions, procrastination, it hasn't happened. But here we are, March 21st. We're going to record this episode. As you can see, I am back in my normal studio. Audio quality should be a little better this time. Last month, I was I believe it was in Italy when I recorded it. I had a great trip. Glad to be back in the USA and back at it again. Good luck to everyone participating in the March Madness tournament. Today is the start of the men's basketball tournament. I am hosting a Ed Tech tournament challenge like I did last year. And let me look here. There's like 120 some teachers who have chosen to participate. Let's take a look at the results here. So we've got 127 teachers in. I have selected the Creighton Blue Jays as a tournament champion, a long shot for sure. Not much has happened, so the leaderboard is you're either in first place or last place. That's about where we're at right now. So good luck to everyone. I've got some prizes that I'll be giving away to the winner. The best bracket and the worst bracket will both receive some prizes. I've got stylus from Penoval. This is the digital stylus that I use. Great one. This is a USI stylus. Will work with any touchscreen Chromebook, so they've donated a couple. Visor for Chromebook has donated a Chromecast with Google TV, which you can use at home or take into your classroom and use it as a cast moderator. So your students and you can wirelessly present. Thank you, Visor. And Figma. Creators of Fig Jam have donated a $50 gift certificate to the Figma store. They got all kinds of funky goodies in there, stickers and socks and t-shirts and bags and Stanley mugs and all kinds of stuff. So thank you to those three sponsors for supporting the Ed Tech Tournament Challenge. Well, this episode, we're going to be talking about the updates for the month of March 2024. There's always something to chat about. If you are not currently a subscriber to the show, welcome in. Glad to have you and invite you to subscribe over on Podcast, Spotify, not Google Podcast, because that's going away. It's very sad. YouTube Music is an option. You can subscribe on YouTube, regular YouTube, and watch the video version of it. Love to have you on every month. I share tips, tricks, and ideas for incorporating technology in your classroom, but more specifically, Chromebooks and Google-related tools and products. This episode is sponsored by my upcoming Google Trainer Academy. That will be kicking off on April 16th. If you are a level 1 or level 2 certified educator and have always been interested in becoming a Google certified trainer, this is your opportunity. During the Trainer Academy, I'll be walking you through the process of becoming a certified trainer. We'll be talking about things including the application process, helping you prep for that and write it, putting together your trainer portfolio. We'll be doing some peer editing, one another's. And then we'll also talk about, the process of starting a training business. How can you, start a consulting agency, courses, books, curriculum development, and I'm going to try to line up some of my friends who have been successful in this space, successful authors, course creators, and they'll share their tips with you as well. So that's what we'll be talking about, among other things. You can join the wait list. Right now, go to googletraineracademy.com, add your name, and I will send out more information right after spring break. Well, let's get into it. The links and updates for March 2024. First up, I've got one that isn't huge news, but certainly will make my life easier. If you have ever noticed that videos you upload directly to Google Drive load very slowly, you are not alone. Google recognized it as well, and they are making some changes that will hopefully make these videos play much better. I have noticed this as a particular issue. I record a lot of Google Meet sessions. Those go into Google Drive as videos, and people complain all the time that it's sitting there spinning for 5 minutes before it plays. So Google is making some changes to how videos in Drive are encoded and processed, and hopefully it will work just as good as YouTube. So excited about that. You don't really need to do anything, but hopefully the next time you try to play a video in Google Drive, it'll just work even better. Update number 2 is related to Google's AI plan. So this is Gemini for Google Workspace. Now, we've talked about Google's AI things in the past. Google's paid plans and tiers and features are starting to materialize. We're not 100% way there, but we're getting closer. So Google has something called Gemini for Google Workspace, which integrates Gemini into your favorite Google products. Things such as Gmail, Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Meet. You can use Gemini from within those tools. I am currently utilizing Gemini for Workspace. I've been doing it for a while now. And it's okay. So for example, if you're watching this, I'll just show you a quick demo. When I create a new Google document, at the top of this document, it says, help me write. And I can do things like create a writing rubric for a 8th grade English class. And it will create my document. Now, it's not quite like regular Gemini in that you don't have like a conversation. It's kind of you kind of say what you want, and then it's going to give you something. You can accept it or start over again. I guess that's the part that I'm not as thrilled with. I can't interact with Gemini the way that I do on just the Gemini website. But it is convenient to have AI built into the tools that I use on a regular basis. And I'm confident that this will get, better over time. And this works in a similar fashion with your email and Google Sheets and other things. So this is the paid version of Google Workspace, Gemini for Workspace. Now they have released pricing, business pricing. It is $30 per user per month. That's what I'm paying. Now that is a stiff price tag. That is no joke. I can't imagine a school, buying this for every staff member, certainly every student. That would be a substantial sum of money. What is new is Google has announced what they're calling a limited plan. So this is Gemini Business is the limited plan, and then Gemini Enterprise is the full one. Now, Gemini Business wasn't even available when I signed up, which I'm kind of bummed about. So I'm currently using Gemini Enterprise. There's no difference in the features that are available for these two plans. What is different is Gemini Business has a meter. It has a maximum use of 1,000 AI queries per month. Now, with that limit comes a reduced price. I'm paying $30 a month. Gemini for Business is $20 per month. So you save $10 as long as you keep your usage under 1,000. Now, the part that I'm not really clear on is I have no idea how many times a month I use it. I don't know what counts as a usage. If I ask for a document and then I refine it, or I ask it to do it again, is that one query? Is that 2, 3? I don't know. So I was kind of wanted to try Gemini for Business to see how quickly I got to 1,000 queries per month. Google has not announced education pricing. Now you can go and get the business pricing, but it was alluded to that education pricing would be different than business pricing, but we don't know what that is. We are expecting an announcement from Google at any moment with more information on what does Gemini for Education look like, how much does it cost, are there features that are different than Gemini for Business? We don't know. I anticipate that Google will beta test Gemini for Education this spring and over the summer. And honestly, I think they'll beta test it for most of next year as well. I think this is one that, like Gmail, may have a beta tag on it for a very long period of time. So you can sign up to be a beta testing school to pilot Gemini for Education. I will include the link to sign up for that in the show notes for this episode. I'll put it right next to the link to the business plan, so you kind of see what it has, and then you can sign up for Gemini for Education. They haven't rolled that out to anybody. They're just accepting signups. Your IT director is the one who would need to sign up. You do need to be a premium Workspace for Education customer in order to apply for the beta. So if you're using the free version of Workspace, you won't qualify for the AI beta. So interesting to see where this is headed. Something that I've been telling all of the teachers and schools that I'm working with, as I've been doing a lot of AI workshops. I did AI keynote in Wilmington, Delaware. I've got a AI presentation coming up for a bunch of school leaders in June. Did one for principals back in January. The one thing that I'm telling everybody, you're going to pay for AI. It is too computationally expensive for companies, even Google, to give it away for free. Unlike search, which has a built-in advertising opportunity so they can recoup some of their costs, AI currently does not have any advertising revenue. So someone has to bear that cost, and it looks like it's going the subscription model. That is true for ChatGPT. It is now true for tools like MagicSchool.ai or Brisk, many of the others, and Google the same way. So schools need to decide if you are going to encourage teachers to utilize AI, then you need to be prepared to put some dollars behind it. Whether that's Google or ChatGPT or something else remains to be seen. All right, let's continue on. Talk about a couple other updates. Number 3 is for IT administrators. Google has announced a new capability to migrate email data between Google Workspace domains. Now, this is not terribly exciting, but there are a reasonable number of schools who are in an awkward situation because you have a staff domain and a student domain that were set up years and years ago. And it would be great if you could pull those two together, but there's never been a great way to do it. Well, now there is. So this data migration tool will allow you to, it's typically easier to pull the student emails into the teacher domain, but you can do it either way. This is included, let me double check, with the free version of Google Workspace for Education. Yes, so anytime I'm looking at these blog posts, you go down to availability, and we're looking for education fundamentals is what we're looking at. That's the free version. So you don't have to pay for this. There have been other migration tools, but they were attached to the Education Plus, which is the premium version. So if you're in a situation where you have two domains, you're interested in merging them together, this is a tool that can make it happen. Last summer, I did a migration project for a school they were actually moving from Microsoft to Google. And I did take advantage of this tool. It was not free at the time, so they had to purchase Education Plus. But it's a great option. One less additional tool that you have to purchase to make it happen. Link number 4 is a brand new feature for Google Slides that you're going to be very excited about. However, this does require that Gemini upgrade that I just mentioned. So one of the cool things about having the Gemini upgrade is that Google is adding new features all the time. And the newest feature they've added is the ability to remove the background of an image in Google Slides. And I've done this so many times. A lot of you want a transparent background, either you can't find it. And so I have to drop that image into, Pixlr or remove.bg or something to crop out the background. But now you can do it right in Slides. So I've just added a picture of a cute dog in a red wagon to a Google Slide document. In my toolbar, I'll see a new icon. It's right next to the crop icon. And this is remove background. And it works well. It's not the best I've ever seen, but it's good enough. If you're looking at the video version of this, you can tell if I look closely, there's still a kind of a green outline along this dog where the grass used to be that's, not cropped wonderfully. But for, something that's just quick and dirty for the right image, it can work very well. I love to see additional graphic design tools being added to Google Slides. Do not know if this will ever make its way to the free versions of Google Workspace, but can always hope. And again, when Google announces the Gemini for Education, this would be one of the tools that you would have access to. Now, there are lots of ways that you can do this outside of Google Slides. Remove.bg is a tool that I've recommended for many years. Photo Scissors is another one. Canva can do this very well. And then if you want something more sophisticated, I use Pixlr, which is very similar to Photoshop, to really get fine-tuned and crop things out. Speaking of images and AI, I have a new favorite. So image generation with AI has been around for a long time. And there's lots of ways to do it. The first tool that I used to create an image was Canva. You type in a description and Canva would spit out an image. When it first launched, it was, incredible. Just the fact that you could do that. But after you play with it for a little bit, you're kind of like, some of these images are not very good. It didn't do people very well. It couldn't do text very well. And so I switched over to a few different ones. There's Dolly. There's Adobe Firefly. Google Slides has one now through Gemini. But my new favorite that I stumbled upon a few weeks ago is Ideogram. It's ideogram.ai. And there's a very specific reason that I like this one. It is one of the only AI image generation tools I have found that does a decent job generating text. Like if you ask for any type of image that contains words, it's unbelievably bad. How it spells like a 6-year-old. Very, very poorly. So I'm going to just do one here. We'll say create a graffiti image that says, put your name on your paper. One of the other nice things about Ideogram, and more tools are allowing this, I do get annoyed when all of the images are square. So Ideogram does allow you to do a square image or a 9x16, which is like a phone, a vertical size, 16x9, which is more of your typical landscape, which is great. And they've got a lot of nice prompts. Do you want a photo, an illustration, a render, cinematic, topography? We'll hit generate and we'll see what happens. Now, Ideogram, like every image and generating tool, are I would say PG-13. I don't recommend these tools without teacher guidance. You can generate images that may not be school appropriate. I've never seen anything like egregious. Nothing X-rated, but you can, sift through here and be like, yeah, I probably wouldn't want my third graders doing that. So this is mostly for teacher generated content. So here's what I'm talking about. I'll describe it for those of you who are listening. So I asked for a graffiti image. And so I've got kind of like an alleyway, very gritty, looks like a photograph with spray painted words that says, put your name on your paper. And let me double check. Everything looks spelled correctly. Our E is a little funky, but we can work with that. Occasionally we'll make spelling mistakes, so you do need to double check. A lot of times you get double letters. So again, it's one of the few AI image generators that creates text effectively. So check it out. I've heard from several other people who say that this is their favorite as well. It does a decent job with people. Again, still does struggle occasionally with fingers like all of them do. So you get a 7-fingered person or something, but very impressive. And the great thing is it's free. At the moment, there are no limits or restrictions. There's no like tokens a month or anything. You can use it as much as you want. That will probably not be the case forever. Someone's got to pay for it. My guess is that they're sharpening their large language model, and once they get it to a point where they're more confident in it, then they will start charging. So take advantage while you can. That was link number 5. Let's go down to number 6. This is a blog post that I wrote to help schools take advantage of a very useful Google Classroom feature that is Visit a Class. This has been a huge problem for schools for a very long time. If you're a school administrator, a special education teacher, a guidance counselor, an instructional coach, and you need access to lots of classrooms, the only way to do that was for teachers to add you as a co-teacher. The result of that is you get 8 zillion emails and your Google Drive account is an absolute dumpster fire. There's another way now. So there is a new feature that allows an individual with the correct rights, which I'll talk about in a minute, to visit a class. You simply click the little banner that appears in Google Classroom. Now, the banner will only appear if you have the appropriate rights. And then you search for a student or a teacher. Now, this is key. The fact that I can search for a student means that if I'm a special education teacher and that kid comes to my resource room and I'm like, oh, I'd love to help you with your math assignment. What homework do you have? And they're like, nothing. Well, now you can actually pull up their class and look at their assignment, look at the instructions very quickly to confirm if they do have homework or to look at the instructions and resources the teacher posted to assist them. So I just did this. I typed in a student's name, Polly. I see the classes that she's enrolled in. I'm going to click on 9th grade English, view assignments, and I get temporary access to this student's classroom without having to be a co-teacher. Brilliant. It's awesome. The same thing is true of teachers. So maybe we have a teacher who had an unplanned absence, got sick overnight, wasn't prepared for a sub. School's got to go on. So now I can type in the name of the teacher, get into their class, see what they did yesterday, and hopefully come up with a plan to check things out. Now, there is a little security feature built in. This is nice. This is to acknowledge the authority of the primary teacher. In order for me as a school administrator or instructional coach to visit the classroom of another teacher, I have to give a rationale. I have to explain why I'm coming. And then there's a little drop-down list or checkbox that says I need to add or remove people. I need to conduct an informal observation, provide teacher support. So you check that. You can type out a message helping the sub and click visit. An email is sent to the primary teacher notifying them that a visitor has access to their class, and away we go. So this is pretty cool. Your access to the class will last for 2 hours, after which it expires and you need to re-request visitor status. Now, my blog post talks about that process, but it also gets into some things that your school IT department needs to do so that the right people have the right permissions to make that happen. And the key is that you need to create a custom admin role in the Google Admin Console called, you can call it whatever you want, classroom visitor, manager, or something. But there's a new option in the admin console responsibilities called manage classes. And so with that designation, anyone with that role assigned to their account will be able to take advantage of this feature in Google Classroom. So you have to be on the EDU Plus version of Google Workspace. And then your IT department will need to set up this role. It's not there by default. You got to manually go in and take a look at it. There's also a new analytics feature. School administrators can look at analytics for the school and individual classes. I'll have to do another post on that. This role can include those analytics as well, if you wish. They're separate, so you can create two roles or just roll them all into one. So a very helpful feature. I've talked to several school administrators and coaches who love it because, as you can imagine, being added to dozens or hundreds of classes as a co-teacher is not a fun experience. Now, if you are enjoying these updates, you can get these delivered straight to your inbox every month. If you head over to my website, you'll see a link to join the EDU update, or you just go to chrm.tech/update. To sign up for those as well. And right after I record this podcast episode, I finish editing the podcast, put that up, and then I write the email that goes along with it. You can read it, you can listen to it, you can watch it, whatever you prefer. All right, I got 3 more links for you. Eric Kurtz, my friend from Ohio, has a nice blog post on tips for using AI responsibly. Eric and I have been traveling to the same conferences for the last 2-3 months. So we've been hanging out quite a bit, whether it's at FETC or just recently at the McCall conference in Michigan. Use of AI and appropriate use, protecting student privacy is important. It is a complicated issue, very complicated. So Eric has a nice post that breaks down some of these things, talks about, the legal requirements of things like FERPA, the Family Educational Rights Privacy Act. FERPA is very similar to like a credit report. So you have a credit report. It is your right to request that credit report and also to dispute information on that credit report that you believe to be inaccurate. That is very similar to what FERPA is. A family can request a student's educational record. They can dispute things that may be inaccurate. And they also have the right to request that information not be distributed or disseminated to other third parties. And so that's one of the issues. Like, you should not be putting student records into tools like ChatGPT or Google Gemini. Now, it's tempting to dump that in for generating report cards or grading purposes, but you have to be very cautious about things like personally identified information, health or IEP information, photos and videos, anything that could be traced back to an individual student. I'm less worried that, OpenAI or Google will misuse this information than the possibility of those companies or others being hacked and that information leaking out to less reputable people. I just listened to an episode of the Lex Friedman podcast where he interviewed Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI. And the topic of cyber attacks came up, and Sam laughed ironically because he wasn't willing to give details, but he made it sound like OpenAI is an extreme target of malicious attackers trying to get into their systems, access their data. So the more data you have, the bigger a target you become. So that's why we need to be cautious about what information we put into these tools. So Eric's post is very good, lays out some tips, some do's and don'ts, and some enterprise tools. And this gets into what we were just chatting about, related to Google's paid version of Gemini. I think some of the AI tools you'll be able to use for free through your school account, or your personal account, perhaps with advertising support. The problem is that Google does not have any data privacy parameters in your personal account. When your school signs up for a enterprise account, there's a lot of guarantees that go along with it about where that data is stored, if it's used for training purposes, who owns that data, and things like that. And with the Gemini Business, it says your conversations are not used for advertising, reviewed by humans, or used to train our machine learning technologies. That's for Google Workspace for Business. That's what you're paying for. The features may be very, very similar, but you're paying for that data privacy. So looking forward again to seeing what Google comes up with for their education customers. Eric, thanks so much for putting that together. And this will be an ongoing conversation about safe and secure use of AI in the classroom. April 1st is right around the corner. Happens to be my wife's birthday, in addition to April Fool's Day. And it is at this time every year that I pull out my very beloved Chromebook prank guide for teachers. If you are looking for a way to spice up your school or your administrator, your interactions at school, this might be just the ticket for you. So this includes such things as Google Gravity, a Google search engine that falls apart when you attempt to use it. Funky wallpaper that will freak your students out. My favorite one is to change the wallpaper of all your school Chromebooks to a broken screen so that every kid thinks that they've broken their Chromebook screen. Then several extensions, including the Rickroll extension, the Hair on Screen extension, Scenify. If you're a pro wrestler fan, John Cena has a fun prank extension. And then the Prankum extension, one of my favorites. It is a Chrome extension you install on someone else's computer, and then it does a variety of things to annoy them very subtly. So it's very difficult to figure out. So for example, this one is so bad. You can make their screen slightly blurry 22% of the time. You can slowly fade their screen and dim the screen 59% of the time. You can make websites render in grayscale 37% of the time. The fact that it doesn't do it every time is what makes it so annoying, because they load a new page and it doesn't do it again. I mean, it will take them days to figure out that anything is going on. So these are just some fun, mostly harmless tricks that you can play on your friends, your fellow teachers, administrators. If you can get your IT department involved, you can do some of these in mass to your students, which might be entertaining. This has been a very popular post. It's got like 75 comments of different ways that people have used it. So that's on my blog. I'll leave that there. I claim no responsibility for whatever happens if you utilize any of these prank tips. Use them responsibly. All right, link number 9, 2 more, we'll wrap things up. Link number 9 is the Explore tool is no more. You are not crazy. Google has removed the Explore feature from Google Docs, Slides, and Sheets. I received several emails from teachers being like, what just happened? Good friend of mine wrote me an email. He's like, why did Google drop the Explore feature? I've used this for years. I'm so frustrated. I totally get it. Google gives and Google takes away. So the Explore tool is gone. Now, it was very useful because it did a whole bunch of things. It brought together Google search, suggestions, images, citations. It basically allowed you to interact with the web from inside a Google document, which is very convenient, especially for younger kids. You don't want them to have, a dozen tabs open. Um, there's no wonderful replacement for the Explorer tool. Instead, you have to kind of cobble together multiple tools. I have no idea why Google got rid of it. My guess is that it's twofold. Number one, it's probably underutilized. Now, I know we use it a lot in education, but teachers and students, make up a very small fraction of Google's overall user base. So, just because we use it doesn't mean that, moves the needle from Google's perspective. The most likely reason is I think Google will probably create something similar powered by AI. So as they continue to integrate AI into all of these products, it would make a lot of sense to create an Explore-like feature with the power of Google Gemini behind it. Now, it's certainly disappointing that they removed that, a free tool, and are likely to replace it with a paid tool. I get it, and that's very annoying. So alternatives, if you have been using the Explore tool with your students, some options to consider. Most of the individual elements are in Google Docs already. So for example, citations. Docs has its own built-in citation tool. And then there was the Explore option as well. So if you just click on the search magnifying glass in the far left corner of Google Docs and then search for citation, you'll see that option. Insert image, very easy to do, same process. There are some add-ons you can look at as well. If you're not a fan of the citation tool for Docs, you can check out an add-on like Bib Citation, which is very good. Doing search inside of Google Doc, I've not figured out a way to effectively replicate that. My best suggestion is to use split screen. Control or Alt, and then the right and left bracket keys on your Chromebook will allow you to split your screen in half. That way you can run a Google search on the left and your document on the right. And then the last thing, kind of replacement for the Explorer tool is to start using smart chips. So if you type the @ symbol when you're in a Google document, you can again do @image, @citation, and it will take you to those areas within the document. It's not a perfect solution. The Explorer tool was a nice feature, especially for English social study teachers who did a lot of research inside of Docs. So I'm sad for you. I understand your frustration. Last link for this month is a blog post from Google. This is actually on the Keyword blog, which is Google's primary blog, which is a little surprising because this is a pretty big deal to be featured here. And the title of this article is 10 Chromebook Features Teachers Will Love. So an article specifically written for educators. Now, Google's angle on this is that they continue to promote the Chromebook Plus line. So these are Chromebooks that are upper end, business class, very nice. I'm using a Chromebook Plus model right now. They're wonderful. So they're promoting that teachers not just get a student quality device, but a nice Chromebook, which I'm totally on board with. So here's the 10 tips. I'll highlight a couple. They talk about the Screencast app for recording lessons, which is very good. Virtual desks, which I use on a regular basis. The ability for Chromebooks to work on and offline. They talked about Cast Moderator, which is a special version of Chromecast that allows teachers to control who can share their screen to the front of the room. This is the hardware required for this is Google Chromecast with Google TV. And that's one of the prizes for the EdTech Bracket Challenge donated by Visor, which is very generous. Talked about managing files, the handwriting capabilities of Chromebooks. We have a touchscreen, so there's an app called Cursive, which allows you to take handwriting notes. I never use it. It's kind of, it works. It's just awkward because there's not a lot of features for it. So if you use something like Squid or Notability, it does not even have a fraction of those features. So that one to me is a little bit of a stretch. I would probably use Google Keep before I would use the Cursive app. Editing, signing PDFs, which is relatively new, super cool. I did that just the other day. And then they talk about apps and extensions available on Chromebooks. So lots of great things on there. One thing I commented this on Facebook, on my Facebook page earlier today. It's always a little strange to me that 60+%, it's like 63 to 65% of schools have Chromebooks in the hands of students. I mean, it's overwhelming majority of schools. However, an incredibly small number of teachers use Chromebooks on a regular basis. We give the Chromebooks to students, but not to teachers. And I don't know if that's district policy, teacher request. I don't know. Now, you say, oh, but I use the Chromebook. I use the Chrome browser on my Mac or on my PC. That's a great start. Not the same. Like, if you don't use a Chromebook on a regular basis, you would not know that you could sign a PDF or annotate a screenshot, or how to take a screenshot on a Chromebook, or adjust the accessibility settings, or know that Chromebooks have a really cool laser pointer feature that allows you to do this. I mean, Macs and PCs have features like this, but you don't know how to do it on a Chromebook. So I would really encourage all teachers, if your students are using Chromebooks, you need to spend a couple days using a Chromebook as well. Now, it doesn't have to be your primary device, but give it a chance. Try it out. You might actually be pleasantly surprised. Now, I fully would admit and recognize that a student Chromebook is not going to provide teachers with a tremendous experience. You really do want a much more high-powered Chromebook, 8 gigs of RAM, a nice screen, touch screen, get yourself a stylus, all the rest. So try that out. That's what I'm passionate about. I've been, doing Chromebook training for schools for 7, 8 years now. And that's the message I share whenever I visit a school. Well, those are my 10 updates for March 2024. I've got all kinds of things going on. Always a lot of AI updates and updates to your favorite Google tools and products. If you've got something that you think I should know about, send me a tweet, comment on Facebook, Instagram, email, and let me know. Love to include it in the next episode. Thanks so much for joining me. You can hang out with me in April through the Google Trainer Academy, April 16th through May 14th. We meet once a week in the evenings. This is a virtual opportunity. We'll guide you through the application process, studying for the trainer exam, preparing your portfolio, and I'll give you some tips on starting your own consulting, blogging, YouTube, TPT, business as well. So hope you can join me for that first cohort. You can kick things off with me. Thanks for listening to the Chromebook Classroom podcast. See you back here next month.